Hello everyone, I'm Sampath, the host, and welcome to another episode of Wantage Viewpoint. If you have ever struggled with tracking edits across email chains and wondered if you're making changes or working on the right version of a proof, then this episode is for you. At Apex CoVantage, we've spent decades helping publishers and authors simplify the proofing process. And today we're talking about collaborative author proofing system, also known as CAPS, which is our online proofing platform that makes collaboration between authors and editors smooth, fast, and reliable. Back with me is Greg, who's helped guide the development and rollout of CAPS. Hey Greg, great to have you back again.
Thanks, Empath. Happy to be here. CAPS has really changed how we approach proofing with our clients. Very delighted to be able to talk with you about it today.
Okay, Greg. Now, before we dive into the discussion, let's start with the basics, shall we? What do you think a modern proofing system should look like?
That's a very good question, Sampath. An online proofing system is a modern proofing system, and it should contain the following types of attributes. It should present content in an easy to read, clean, web-based mechanism. Ours is based on XML feeding into it. We've transformed the XML into HTML. It should let users make changes in a familiar editing environment. And for most people, that means having something that looks like Microsoft Word. So our environment contains Word-like editing tools. Other basics include the ability to be able to carry through comments or queries so that the right questions can be asked associated in the right place in the document. Those queries and comments can be directed to multiple individuals. Might be a query that comes from a copy editor and gets carried through to an author that's reviewing the content, or there may be queries that the author wants to include for collaborators, other authors, or to send to editors. Additionally, a solid online proofing system should have tight version control that would ensure then that all comments, all suggestions, all inclusions, modifications that are made to the proof are always current, and that there isn't any confusion that is going to result through the process. And finally, that proofing system should include a full edit approval cycle. And this would allow for the ability for an editor to be able to take the information that's been added to the document and then approve its inclusion or reject the inclusion so that that document can be consistent with what a publisher needs in the long run. And overall, when you think about what an online proofing system can do, it eliminates the need to do a manual translation or transcription of any kind of PDF comments that would be embedded through traditional means into the workflow. That step's entirely gone. So what it adds up to is the ability to be able to have an interaction between authors and editors, and to do so in a manner that could lead to potentially faster turnaround times and ultimately faster time to production.
Okay, Greg. Now, since you're also the subject matter expert and you've spent significant amount of time developing this tool, what do you think makes this tool stand out, really stand out for authors and publishers?
There are a couple of things that we've built into CAPS to try to make collaboration easier, and that was an intentional focus for us. The system is set up to be able to work seamlessly with our production systems. It receives content or data from our production systems, and then we'll send an email invitation out to authors to be able to log into the platform and begin their editing process. Authors themselves have the ability within the platform to be able to review multiple documents at a time. So if someone has companion articles or related articles that are being processed in parallel, they can be analyzed, they can be reviewed in CAPS in the same session. In addition to that, the authors will be able to invite collaborators or co-authors, and they can assign particular sections of documents for folks to look at, or they can have feedback taken on the entire document. If you think about this from a book perspective, an editor that is responsible for a contributed book wherein each chapter is written by a different author, this then gives the editor a significant amount of control over making sure that he or she gets in the correct content and has the correct assignments to be able to handle getting the book done in a timely manner by including all of the authors who are involved in that creation. And then the tool is set up so that the editor does have complete control over the acceptance or rejection that's available in the system. All of that networking for collaboration allows for work to be handled quickly, and it allows for work to be able to be handled so that there isn't a lot of lag time that happens, as is sometimes the case with the more traditional methods with having PDF proofing. It's a structured approach, and it's very clear and helps each individual to be able to focus on their role.
Okay, so my understanding is that earlier there used to be a lot of back and forth between publishers, authors, and editors, and I believe this tool brings everything, makes everything real time. Like all the changes are tracked real time. The way I look at it, this is a very agile approach as well, considering the nature of the business and considering how the business and the industry is evolving. Faster turnaround times are a really, really attractive feature to have. So, how do you think this tool, CAPS, helps close the communication gap?
Now, I think the things that you mentioned, Sampath, are all true. It does help close the communication gaps that we have seen sometimes, or lag times that occur with authors and editors reviewing materials. It allows authors to be able to work with their co-authors, to be able to resolve and deal with queries that may have been presented to them that came from the earlier production processes or from a copy editor. It allows those individuals to be able to formulate queries back to editors if they have a particular change they want to be able to integrate into the process. They can do so, and it's handled in a very smooth mechanism. And with everything being track change, there is ability for the editors to review the complete history of what's gone on with the document and be able to review all of the comments or annotations that have been made. And editors still have complete control, as has been the history of in publishing, to be able to accept or reject different types of inclusions. Editors are also able to respond to queries left by authors, so they can do so and then be able to collect additional information if they need to make further updates. So with everything happening in a controlled environment, CAPS allows there to be high confidence that everybody's working from the same version of the materials, and they've got information at hand to be able to move to a quick conclusion of the workflow process.
That really is a great breakdown, Greg. And from what you told me, I understand that not only that the tool simplifies the process for everyone involved, but it is also very simple to use as well. So,
Yes.
Greg, what's the one message you want listeners to remember about CAPS?
If your teams are still utilizing PDFs and pushing them around through email and then doing email exchanges for that, which is a highly distributed form of communication, it's point to point, and it doesn't involve having a record for other people to be able to see the entire histories easily, then my recommendation is to take a look at a system like CAPS. It makes proofing faster. It makes the information exchange more clear, and it eliminates the guesswork that is associated sometimes with editing when you're trying to remember something that was transpired or communicated in an email thread 2 or 3 months ago. It's all taken care of within the online environment. So editors and authors can both move ahead to get completed with the publishing process with confidence that their requested changes and what's been approved for change in the document are going to be updated and then readily available for the final versions they deliver for print or for online.
Thank you, Greg. And for all our listeners, especially publishers or authors, if you're ready to modernize your editorial workflow, do reach out to us at Apex CoVantage to learn how CAPS can fit into your process. And Greg, as always, it's great talking to you, and I always end up learning more. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Great to be here. Bye-bye.